Operation Matrix, Britain's hidden web. In the heart of the Lake District lies Windermere, a town of shimmering water and peaceful streets. Tourists come here to escape the noise of the world. But in 2021, beneath that calm surface, something darker was taking shape. Police in Cumbria began investigating what seemed like a small-time dealer, a man named Rhys Barnes. Locals said he sold cocaine to a few regulars. He drove a nice car, dressed well, and liked attention, nothing unusual for a small town. But every time detectives looked closer, the picture changed. A few calls led to new names, a few meetings led to new places, and then a storage unit near his home revealed something bigger. Inside, a shoebox containing cocaine. It was a clue, but more importantly, it was a doorway. What started as a local case soon began to reveal an organised crime network stretching across the country. Detective Superintendent Zoe Russo, who would later lead the case, explained that what seemed like one man in Windermere turned out to be part of a web of dealers, couriers, and importers. That web would become the focus of one of the largest drug investigations ever carried out by the Northwest Regional Organised Crime Unit. The name of that investigation was Operation Matrix, the hidden connections. As officers mapped the connections, patterns emerged. Barnes's phone records linked him to contacts in Cheshire, Manchester, and Merseyside. Surveillance teams watched him meet with men far above his level. Two names appeared repeatedly: Andrew Stevens and Simon Buller. They were not street dealers, they were organisers, the ones who decided when, where, and how the drugs would move. Operation Matrix was no longer about one man, it was about a network. Through surveillance and analysis, detectives uncovered a hierarchy. At the top were the coordinators. Beneath them, the logistics teams who arranged shipments from Europe. Further down were couriers and storekeepers, ordinary people whose homes became storage facilities for tons of cocaine. The criminals relied on encrypted messaging apps to coordinate deliveries. They thought their conversations were untouchable, but digital forensics began to break through the codes. Each decrypted message revealed more of the structure. The network expands. The first major breakthrough came with the arrest of a courier named Kane Turner. In early 2023, officers stopped his car on a motorway. Under the front seat, they found more than £30,000 in cash. His phone told the rest of the story. For months, he had been transporting large quantities of cocaine across England. In total, Turner was responsible for moving more than 100 kilograms of drugs, with a street value of about £13 million. The web was expanding faster than anyone expected. Soon, the investigation reached Britain's ports. Messages referred to drops and collections at Harwich, Felixstowe, and Hull. Detectives learned that shipments were arriving from the Netherlands, hidden inside legitimate cargo. One courier, Anthony Warhurst, was caught after collecting 50 kilograms of cocaine from Harwich. Wrapped, sealed, and disguised, the load was worth more than £5 million. When officers stopped him on the motorway, they knew they had just intercepted one of many shipments entering the country through the same route, ports and pathways. By now, police understood they were dealing with an international supply chain. The drugs were imported from Europe, distributed to safehouses in northern England, and sold across the country through a series of local dealers. Each group operated independently, but relied on the same network for supply. It was this interconnected structure that gave Operation Matrix its name. The link between the UK and Europe was a woman named Magdalena Sadlow. To most people, she was quiet, polite, and ordinary, but investigators discovered that she managed communications between British organisers and continental suppliers. She arranged ferry trips, hired couriers, and tracked the movement of drugs with astonishing precision. On one journey, she personally brought 33 kilograms of cocaine through Harwich. Her home contained ledgers, burner phones, and coded spreadsheets that tracked every transaction. She later admitted conspiracy to supply Class A and B drugs and to conceal criminal property. Her sentence was 14 years. Safehouses. Meanwhile, in Greater Manchester, two more names surfaced: Gary Gittins and Mark Knowles. Gittins allowed his house in Wigan to be used to store about 175 kilograms of cocaine, valued at £17.5 million. Knowles, in Atherton, stored another 77 kilograms. Investigators found photographs on his phone showing stacks of wrapped cocaine bricks ready for delivery. The drugs were hidden in plain sight behind the closed doors of ordinary houses. The takedown. By mid-2023, detectives were ready to act. Operation Matrix moved from investigation to enforcement. Over several days, coordinated raids took place across Cumbria, Cheshire, Manchester, and South Wales. Officers stormed properties, seized vehicles, and recovered cash, phones, and ledgers. When the dust settled, the scale of the conspiracy was finally clear. More than 350 kilograms of cocaine had been trafficked, with a total street value exceeding £53 million. What began with one man in a quiet town had become a nationwide criminal enterprise. The trials. 13 individuals were charged. The trials that followed revealed the depth of their operation. There were warehouse keepers, accountants, drivers, and intermediaries. Some had previous convictions. Others had never been in trouble before. Together, they represented 3 major organised crime groups linked through shared supply lines. Every one of them pleaded guilty. In total, they received more than 140 years in prison. Outside the court, Detective Russo spoke to the press. She said that every person involved in trafficking drugs causes harm, and that Operation Matrix proved that police will find and prosecute anyone who contributes to that harm, lives in the web. For each kilogram seized, there were people behind it. Not just criminals, but families, neighbours. The couriers who took risks for quick cash, the users at the end of the chain, trapped in addiction. The families living next to a safe house without ever realising it. Operation Matrix wasn't just about drugs, it was about the social and human damage that radiates from organised crime. Each package moved meant another person drawn into a system of dependence and exploitation. Behind the sleek cars and encrypted phones were countless lives unravelled. Technology and trust. One of the defining features of Operation Matrix was technology. For years, encrypted devices had been the underworld's secret weapon. Dealers believed their messages were invisible, their operations safe. But global law enforcement collaboration changed that. Through forensic decryption and data recovery, investigators began to see what was once hidden. Photos of cash and drugs, location data, coded nicknames. They could map entire conspiracies without setting foot inside a single meeting. The success of Operation Matrix owed much to this shift, the blending of traditional detective work with digital intelligence. As one officer later remarked, the modern drug war is fought as much through data as through doors. Community impact. For the communities involved, the fallout was enormous. In Windermere, locals expressed disbelief. One resident told reporters that they never imagined such an operation could exist in a tourist town. But that was the lesson. Organised crime does not confine itself to city streets. It seeps quietly into every corner of society, wherever there is profit to be made. For those fighting it, the cost was high. Long hours, months of surveillance, risks during raids. Yet the results mattered. Across the northwest, police reported a noticeable drop in cocaine supply following the arrests. For a moment, the web had been broken. Aftermath and reflection. When the final sentencing took place in 2025, Detective Russo described the investigation as long, complex, and deeply collaborative. She praised the teamwork that brought down 3 major organised crime groups. But even in victory, she acknowledged the reality. For every network dismantled, another waits in the shadows. Operation Matrix was a success, but it was also a reminder that the struggle against organised crime never truly ends. The broader picture. To understand why this case matters, it helps to step back. Drug trafficking is not just about illegal profit. It fuels violence, corruption, and exploitation. It damages public health and undermines communities. Each kilogram seized represents more than contraband. It represents a moment when harm was stopped before it could spread further. Operation Matrix also highlighted the importance of cooperation. The network stretched from Windermere to Manchester, from Harwich to Holland. It took hundreds of officers, analysts, and international partners to dismantle it. That collaboration remains one of its most important legacies, the continuing fight. Even as those convicted serve their sentences, new investigations begin. New names appear, new routes are discovered, new methods evolve. The trade adapts, shifting from encrypted phones to cryptocurrency, from courier runs to digital transactions. The landscape changes, but the motive remains the same: profit. For law enforcement, the task is constant adaptation, combining data analysis, community policing, and international cooperation to stay one step ahead. Operation Matrix stands as both a model and a warning that no network, however complex, is beyond reach, but that the battle must be fought anew every day. A warning and a message. To young people tempted by the illusion of easy money, Operation Matrix is a cautionary tale. Each person involved believed they were untouchable, hidden behind technology and distance. Yet one by one, they were traced, caught, and imprisoned. Lives that once promised freedom and wealth ended in long sentences and broken families. For communities, it sends a different message, one of resilience and vigilance. It shows that coordinated action, intelligence sharing, and public awareness can dismantle even the most powerful criminal networks. Closing. In a quiet corner of Cumbria, the lake still ripples, as it always has. Tourists still wander the streets, unaware that the beauty around them once hid a criminal empire. The men and women behind Operation Matrix have long since been sentenced. Their phones are silent, their profits seized, their organisation dismantled, but their story remains, a reminder that crime, no matter how deeply buried, leaves traces. Justice, though patient, can find its way through the dark. And behind every headline, every courtroom victory, there are people, investigators, families and communities working to rebuild what was nearly lost. Operation Matrix began with one man in Windermere. It ended with the collapse of a £53 million criminal network. Between those two moments lies a truth that endures. Beneath the calm surface of ordinary life, the fight against organised crime never truly ends.